passe super. L'artiste, super, encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! De er i semifinale igjen!
The main round has started, and so has the controversy. Alex Kulec here, joined by Brian Campion, who got to watch Croatia fans get really angry and Germany fans sigh in relief. How you doing, Brian?
Not too bad. Thanks for introducing me first. That's great. I'm very happy about that.
There you go. I thought I'd throw you that one.
Thank you.
And of course, Chris O'Reilly is here, who's going to try to explain what the hell happened at the end of that Denmark-Sweden game.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. What a day at the office in Hamburg. I'm glad that the Euro drama came here a day or two too late, but it's here now.
Before we get into the games and the controversy around them, what's the first feeling on the main round? You know, we were so ecstatic coming out of the preliminary round, and we've had some good games. But what has been the feel in the stadiums? What's the general vibe?
I think it's been very good, but coming from where we came from, maybe a slight step back. But saying that, I mean, the Austria result for me was unbelievable, and that was like, I didn't see that coming, and there's nothing I'd wish for more than Austria to do a job over Germany. I think that would be absolutely sensational. It'd be their Cordoba 2.0. With Austrians never shut up about the time that they beat Germany in Cordoba, so that would be their handball version of it, and I think that would be a sensation. I don't see it at all. I just feel like the day that's in it, I feel like the small brother will just get crushed by the big brother. But I would love and pay a lot of money to see Austria beat Germany. But I think that Austrian result was a huge one for me. I thought France-Croatia was a good game. I think Denmark-Sweden was also a very entertaining game. I'm sure we're going to have plenty to say about that a bit later. Portugal were impressive. And yeah, I don't want to go through all the games. I want to leave something for you guys to say. So.
Classic Brian Campion approach. Scattergun approach.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? Does it feel like the element of danger has kind of disappeared? Because I think that is one of the issues with the main round, that there's 4 games, there's 8 points up for grabs, and it doesn't feel like every game is make or break.
Really?
Or
I think so. I really think so.
I think
like,
it does, yeah.
When there's only 2 spots in the semi-final up for grabs, then it really is that case. Like, and you know, this has always been the format of the Euro. With in the end, you end up with 2 groups of 6, and only the top 2 make it through. Now there's more games in it, so it feels a bit longer. I mean, the previous format before it expanded to 24 teams was you had 16 teams, 12 of them go through, but 2 matches are carried over. So there you felt like after one game that like a team like Denmark would already be booked in the semi-final, and then there's nothing to play for. Whereas now we've reached the halfway point of the main round in Hamburg, and still nothing is actually decided. So it feels like it's very much up for grabs, and that is the feeling I got from the Slovenia-Sweden game the other night, that it was like really nervy. It was like, even though both teams had come through their groups with 2 points, that it was a make or break game. That's how I felt a little bit for Sweden today against Denmark. And I think the only team not feeling it is Portugal, who are just having a laugh, and they're killing it. I mean, Portugal are the story for me so far. A lot in this group. Austria are in the Cologne group, but Portugal absolutely flying. And so, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of nerves out there, a lot of tension. The Norwegians are ready to, hang their coach, which is there's a whole lot of bad vibes going on in Team Norway. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think, we don't have the minnows who are going to create a huge surprise. The closest we're going to get is Austria, who've been in 3 of their 4 main rounds and whenever they got to the Euro, and Portugal, who are established team as well. But in that sense, I think they're they're putting up a good fight against the big boys.
Just a little point on Norway there. We talked about the Kolstad project and how it's going to bring these players together and they're going to be a unit and they're going to be all great. And I think the opposite has happened, where you brought them all together and now they just hate each other and they can't get away from each other.
Give me a fucking break. You normally we would go away when we played for Ireland and you'd be like, I haven't seen the fucking lads in ages. It's going to be fucking great. If we were playing week in, week out at club level, you'd be going away and be like, these fuckers again. Stuck with them week in, week out. Magnus Road. Oh, he's injured again, is he? Yeah, typical fucking made of glass.
Classic.
Yeah. It's really bad vibes there. Like that. I mean, and hilariously, they beat Netherlands today, and they're still in with a shot. They're going to have to pull off the miracle of the century to beat both Denmark and Sweden to have a chance. But yeah, not good there. So yeah, but to answer your question, I think there is the danger there, and I think both groups, in one way or another, are going to go down to the wire.
Good time to mention a couple of the interviews you got after the Denmark-Sweden game. Actually, I threw this up on Twitter, and the first two people replied saying, we want to hear Hampus Wanne and we want to hear Emil Nielsen. And what did Chris O'Reilly do? He brought you Hampus Wanne and he brought you Emil Nielsen.
Alex, you only wrote Hampus and Emil, so I thought you meant Emil Jakobsen. Nah, I got you, Emil Nielsen. Imagine that. So, Emil, you're 12 from 26 in the championship. How do you feel? But
you're still extremely handsome. Is that keeping your head up in this championship?
Do you practice your rolls every morning?
He's got him and Alexander Blons have the best rolls. But anyway, it was a packed mix zone, as you expect, from the Scandinavian Derby. But I managed to get a quick few words with Hampus Wanne and Emil Nielsen, and we'll play that later in the show.
So let's start at the end, will we?
Let's get straight into the refs, will we?
Yeah.
We.
Alex promised.
Which game will we start with?
Here we are.
I promised ref talk, and we're going to go with ref talk.
Now let's start with the most recent one that we'd all just watched, Sweden-Denmark, because that game was basically decided on referee decisions, and it looked like it was over, and then we had that situation where Sweden protested that they took too many passes. That's what the protest was in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Chris, you want to talk us through, seeing as you're there, commentating of what exactly happened in those last...
Yeah, I was there, but I knew as much as you guys, I'm going to be honest. Like, it's one of those situations where, on the court, they know how many passes, and sometimes on the screen we're shown the referee giving like 2 fingers up or 3 fingers up or 1 finger saying this is how many passes are left. That wasn't the case this time, or if it was, I missed it. So the case was they had 2 passes left and they took 3 passes. So normally in that case the referees would blow it up and it would be a Sweden ball. However, they didn't. The ball was played out to Magnus Landin. He scored a goal to make it a 2-goal game. And straight away, Jonathan Karlsbogard was like right in the referee's faces, like with the 2 fingers up saying, 2 passes, you said 2 passes, check the video replay. Andreas Palika looked like he was going to go and rip somebody's head off. I mean, this was
with his little piece of tissue in his nose as well, looking extra insane.
I saw Palika of last year when he almost ripped Elodie Vidorsson's head off. He was going to do that to a referee. We know he's capable of it. And then, the referees, to be fair to them, they were like, all right, everyone calm down. So there is a rule in handball where if there is a potentially game-changing situation in the last 30 seconds, regardless of what it is, if it has a direct impact on the result, that they can go and check the video replay to ensure they have made the right decision. So the referee said, okay, clearly this is worth looking at. And so they went and checked it. They saw, yes, indeed, that they had taken 3 passes, 1 pass too many, and therefore the goal shouldn't stand. The problem for me then, when they came back and they did the arms across saying they meant no goal, but this is where maybe we need a mic on the referees, because that could mean no goal, which I thought initially, or it could mean there's no point in the protest is invalid. Thankfully, I guessed right the first time around, and then there was a whole kerfuffle about whether they should how much time they should bring the clock back. Thankfully, at that point, I had my director in my ear who could hear what they were talking about, and told me that they were discussing where to bring the clock back to. And so that's where we were. All of a sudden, a goal was wiped off, which you don't see very often. And yeah, they turned back time. There's 17 seconds left to go. And Sweden had the attack.
So then, Chris, tell me, why didn't the referees go to the video again when they said that Hampus Wanne was inside in the last second or last 3 seconds where Oscar Bergendahl got the shot, scored the goal to equalize and make it 28-28 between Denmark and Sweden. But the referees called inside for Hampus Wanne, who may have been pushed by a Danish defender into the area.
Who may have been manhandled by Seaman Held, who's about 20 kilos heavier than him, into the 6 meter area. The angle that I was watching it live, obviously, I was blind to Wanne. All I could see was Bergendahl stick his paw out, his left paw, and say, "Give me the ball." He got the ball. He put the ball in the back of the net. As far as I was concerned, it was a goal. And then straight away, I saw the referees pointing down that it was inside. I don't know. In that case, they just couldn't be bothered. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought it was.
I think they just wanted to go home.
Fuck this.
I thought they were very decisive, which is good with the referee. I thought the first decision
was really
impressive. Yeah. And then, it's tough.
It is tough. Because I mean, if anything, like, if he hadn't scored in that situation, it probably would be a penalty, because then the defender is interfering with the shot by shoving one of his teammates in his face. And it feels like...
Where do you go if you're Hampus Wanne? Where do you go? Do you know? You get pushed like that. You're only going one direction, aren't you? Like, if you just purposely push someone inside like that.
I mean, maybe he could have fallen over completely, like, instead of just stumbling in.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like,
he did push him as well.
Yeah,
it was an angle. Go down on social media now as well. He definitely shoved them.
That was clear, and it's a pity, because at the end of that, I think both teams would have kind of accepted a draw from it. Maybe the Danes would have been complaining a lot more if it was a draw, and maybe we'd be hearing the whole story about the ball turning over in the first place.
These Czech refs were watching the Euro or the end of the German game yesterday and saw 6 steps plus 4 steps and thought, do you know what? We're not going to be fucking doing that. We're just blowing everything up here.
Yeah. No, but I agree. Generally, like that, I think they did a good job with the game, and that decision for the last Denmark goal was the right decision, and they kind of accepted, we messed up. That's what the video replay is there for. So if they'd used it one more time, I don't think anyone would have been complaining.
But Hampus Wanne's penalty against Landin, that's a highlight for the ages, that one. Where he has Landin on the floor and then just gets it right over his shoulder. And then Landin is laughing. He's just like, that was well done. Well done.
Fair play, you little bastard.
Well, then let's hear from the little bastard, Hampus Wanne,
and the big bastard.
Emil Nielsen from the big bastard from Denmark, Emil Nielsen.
Talk us through those final seconds, and you went in as a second line player, and the call was against you to be inside. Is that what happened? Oscar.
I believe so, but I haven't seen it on video now, so I don't really want to speculate about it.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, wild game, and I think the result, not what you want, of course, but it shows that you're right up there with this Danish team, and I guess there's some positives to take away from that.
Yeah, of course, but in the end we're still very disappointed, because when you play for the Swedish national team, you play to win. But it was amazing atmosphere, a really funny game to play. It was so intense all the time. But now I feel like we're still very hungry.
Yeah, and I mean, you were stuck in heavily throughout the game, and the penalties, scoring from open play as well, and you seemed to have a nice little battle with Matthias as well, as he tried to come in on the line. You took each other down a couple of times.
But it's great. It's funny to play against Denmark, because a lot of us play together or have played against each other, I don't know how many times. So it's always great battles, but unfortunately we didn't come out on top.
And for the gameplay for today, like the plan you had to deal with the Danes, do you think overall that was executed as you hoped to?
we could have done it better in the first half. Gidsel and Pitlick came through a little bit too much through our defense in the middle in the first half, but second half we improved a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, the last seconds, of course, is a disappointment, but it's wide open, this group, and now Portugal coming up, and that feels like a little bit of a quarter-final already.
Yeah, now it's focus on Portugal. I haven't seen them so much yet, but they're known for their 7-6, especially. Let's see how it's gonna be.
Good stuff,
Thanks.
Very hectic end to the game, an incredible match. Is it mostly relief at the end of that to get the win?
Definitely. I think we had our opportunities throughout the second half to close the game, but we didn't manage to do that. So I think it was a well-deserved win. On the other hand, Sweden is also, fighters all the way around, and they never give up. So also credit to them for coming back and never give up. In the end, as you say, it was a sigh of relief for sure. We're happy with the 2 points.
Take me through those final few seconds. First of all, the goal, which wasn't counted. I mean, so much happening there. Hard to also, I guess,
for sure.
focus.
For sure, yeah, for sure. And it took a very long time. It was a little frustrating as a goalkeeper, especially when you're standing in the goal and you have no idea what's happening, and then you have to, get ready again. It was different. Let me say it like that. It was something I haven't tried before, and well, at least it went into our favor, so that was good.
And in general, feels like the first proper test for Denmark. You've moved through the gears nicely during the tournament, but now really be put to the test.
Well, I don't know if I agree. Portugal is also a great team. They have shown that multiple times, and we just played really good against Portugal. So and everything clicked. So I think we've met proper battles throughout this tournament. But we'll take the 2 points today, and it was a good game.
And for your performance in particular, you came on midway through the first half and straight into the action. It must be such a luxury for this team to have both you and Nicholas come in. But your impact in the first game at the beginning of the championship and today, really fantastic. What is your perspective on that?
No, of course, I'm happy. I'm happy with the 2 points. It was a difficult game as a goalkeeper today. They come very close to the goal, and they shoot a lot of shots from 6 meters, and I think they get 10 penalties. So today was a very difficult game for goalkeepers. So overall, I don't know what my percentage is. I don't think it's that high, but overall, it is okay. Well, okay, fair enough. Good thing though. But I'm happy with the performance and really relieved and happy with the 2 points.
And your role is growing with this team as the championship goes on. It's your first experience of being in a championship like this, in this pairing. How does that feel?
It's amazing. It's just amazing. Also now at this point, the fans starts to recognize me and they starts to yell my name, and it's nice to be integrated to the teams also, throughout the fans. So I'm just really happy and hope to, being able to perform more throughout this tournament.
Good man. Thanks, Emil.
Of course. No worries.
There, thank you, boys. Here, Alex, I have a question for you now. Would you rather Emil Nielsen or Andy Wolf on your team?
Oh, man. I think Andy Wolf still. Because they're both a similar type of goalkeeper who can take over a game, are explosive and bring momentum to their team. And I think while Emil Nielsen is going to be better, probably at some stage, right now, he hasn't won a European Championship for his team yet. And that's, Andy Wolf has done it and he keeps doing it. I take Andy Wolf, but Emil Nielsen has just been incredible.
There'll be 1-1 on the European Championship scale in a week or so, and then it'll very quickly turn in one favour.
Yeah, and then maybe
man's favourite. It is remarkable to think that it is his first tournament, and I asked him about that, as you heard as well, and he really seems to be enjoying it. Like he's
of course he enjoyed it. He has a 50% save rate.
Yeah, he's clearly taking it in his stride. Coming in and saving the day again, and yeah, he's just today was fantastic in a game which he said was not a goalkeeper's game. he still had a very good game, which says something. And he was the only one to really thrive of the 4 goalkeepers today. 35% save rate in that game is massive.
That's an off day for Emil Nielsen.
An off day.
Yeah. For Emil Nielsen, 35% is an off day. For any other goalkeeper, that's
you win the match.
It's incredible.
There's no point in talking about Matthias Gitzel, though. We'll just be glazing, won't we? We don't need to be glazing anymore, like, you know? It's too much, like, isn't it? Those interceptions alone. Just the interceptions. I'm just like, fuck off. It's too good. Like, we were all watching the game and people were going, he can really get people off their seats that are just fucking watching it in a media fucking centre. And just with the interceptions alone, it was just absolutely wild. Like, some of the stuff he's doing. And that dirty backcourt they started with as well, like Pitlick, Hansen and Gitzel. It's just like...
Yeah, the last 3 games for Gitzel, last 3 games for him, the ones that mattered against Portugal, Netherlands and Sweden. 11 goals from 12 shots against Portugal. 9 goals from 10 shots against Netherlands. 10 from 11 against Sweden. That's just ridiculous. That's just...
Yeah. And you tweeted, Alex, about his shooting percentage being way too good for a backcourt player. It's now up to 88%.
What?
Right? 88.1%. And, he played so well that he masked the fact, in my mind, that Simon Pitlick was not having a great game. And that started to unravel a little bit in the second half, where they tried to find solutions, Denmark, where it's the first time that I was like, maybe the backcourt isn't as perfect all the time. Like, every game it's been like them dominating and then just waiting for it to pull away. But Pitlick struggled to have a real impact. Lauge struggled to have a real impact. They threw in Mikkel Damgaard, who struggled to have an impact. And then it was like, well, a good thing that Gitzel had already scored 11 goals, or 10 goals, because, if that went on a bit longer, I think Sweden would have had them.
Hansen and that Danish backcourt were working. Hansen and 2 boys. And it was actually Hansen who was coming through, getting the space and actually scoring from open play quite well. And then in the second half, he didn't play that much. Lauge came in there, and then towards the end, when Sweden really made a comeback, it was Damgaard in there. Is it down to those like niggling injuries that he has, do you think?
I guess so. I mean, he has a dislocated finger. He has more. You see players walking through in the mix zone with ice on. He's got more ice than anyone else. He's got a solid 3 kilos of ice wrapped around his body when he's coming through. I really think they're just protecting him. It's a long tournament. If everything goes to plan, there are 4 more matches to play for them. And I think, they put him in there. He gets the ball rolling. He's played he played the first half pretty much the entire time. And then Lauge comes in and hopefully maintains the tempo. And I think when they really, really need it, he'll play more.
Any thoughts on Sweden? Because I initially wasn't that impressed for them. I haven't been that impressed by Sweden in this championship at all. So it kind of surprised me that they were able to scrap back to almost getting a draw. I thought Lagergren was very good. Yeah. He was very impressive. And Karlsborg, again, it's interesting that they have these 2 sets of backcourts. And they seem to just switch between them. You have Lagergren, Gottfriedsen, and Karlsborg as your front line. And then they took all of those 3 off and brought in Erik Johansson, Felix Klar, and Lucas Andel, who arguably is the better, which trio is better?
Exactly. I think in the defensive side, the first 3 is better, and that's why I think they started today and played most of the second half, because Glenn Solberg wanted 6 men in attack and defense, going back to 2022 Sweden. No substitutes between attack and defense, and whatever he said to Karlsborg worked, because straight from the start he was going for it. He won penalties, he scored plenty of goals. with more confidence in attack than I've seen him before. I think it's a little bit like he's got a little bit of the Lasse Anderson about him. It's like he's a defender first and foremost, but then if he has a chance to build up the confidence, like can really do a good job in attack, particularly as a playmaker as at left back. But he's got an arm as well. And Lagergren was, for me, from what you expect to see from a player to what he produced was the best player in that game, because he was toying with that Danish defence at times. But yeah, I was impressed with them. I think they are a good tournament team, as we're seeing.
Yeah, you said it. You said it last time. Just like the last Euros, which they won, they scrapped through the whole thing. You know, they weren't obviously the dominant team in the same way that we've seen Denmark and France be at tournaments. They scrapped through it, and I think this showed that they can scrap with anyone, even the likes of Denmark and anyone else from the other side. So we'll be interested. It'd be interesting to see if they don't slip up essentially against some of the other teams in the group, like Portugal.
That's a big one. That's the quarterfinal right there. I think Portugal-Sweden. That's an exciting game, and I don't know what you guys made of Portugal today, but I really impressed with those guys. They love the 3:30 slot.
Portugal are just
no pressure.
Are they
no
back
pressure
to exciting Portugal from years ago? Because it's like a new generation.
Better.
It could be the best ever. They're kind of aiming now probably for that. If they finish 5th this year, that'd be their best result ever. You know, I mean, who knows if they could get to semi-final? But I think this mix of someone like Martin Costa coming in and playing better than his more talented brother is something that not many people expected. And we're talking to our good friend Marcio Menino, and they often compare the two of them to Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. I don't know if they're that good now, but like that one has to work for everything. Martin has to work for everything, and Kiko just has all the talent.
But nice that both of the Ronaldo and Messi of handball play for Portugal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a nice combo.
Funny, isn't it? It's funny. Yeah. So practical. Can we talk about how boring Germany are?
Oh, yes. Please. I forgot about that.
I'm jumping around here a bit, sorry, but I've been itching to hear Alex talk about this for a bit. I want to unleash him.
Lads, they're not a bad team, but they're so boring. They have no flow. It's, when you watch a team like Denmark, France, and even teams like Portugal and Netherlands, you're watching them and they're flying around. There's movement. There's like, this is exciting. I want to get involved in this. And then you watch Germany and it's so static and they're all big and they take contact but still score. And you're like, it's working for you, but just like, do we really have to watch this?
I'm not getting paid to watch this. What the fuck is this?
It's annoying. And I think the joie de vivre of Yuri Knorr has kind of tailed off a little bit. He's a really talented player. He's been really good, but he's not surprisingly good now. And I think teams have shut him down a little bit in when his static movement and shots and passes, he's moving a little bit more, but that's not as exciting as his previous form. I do like Kastening on the right wing. He's great. He's a lot of fun. He had some really good spin shots in the match, but they got bailed out by refs, right? We all agree on that?
Before you go into that, just my point in that game, it's like both teams have been found out a little bit of this championship in terms of their attacking play, and it was there were no surprises. As we said, this is like a Bundesliga battle, but the amount of rebounds Germany picked up in that game was ludicrous. First of all, we can say all we want about referees, but rebounds and missed chances, Iceland fucked themselves in this, as well as being done. But it was just a case of, okay, we all know what we're going to do here. Who can stumble their way to more goals? It was a bit better in the second half. First half was really tough to watch, though. And I was in the fan zone in Hamburg watching it with all the locals. And Steffen Weinhold was there. I was chatting away to Merle Schach, who was like, he could be playing right now. He's fully fit. He's probably the best right back Germany has, but he's having a pint with a bunch of random fans in Hamburg. So that says a lot as well. But yeah, go on, Alex. Let loose on those final exchanges in the Lanxess Arena.
So this one, I think it was a referee mistake, and I'll talk through it. But I don't blame the referees. It's quite unfortunate that the referees in this case were also Georgi Nachevsky and Slava Nikolov, the Macedonian duo, with some questionable claims against them. But I don't blame the refs as much, because when it's a 1-goal game between Germany and Iceland in a 20,000-seater Lanxess Arena with fans going crazy and the game gets so hectic, it's just really hard to just pull back a small mistake. Like, first, essentially, passive play, I think, was called well. Germany did well to get about 20-25 seconds out of that attack without not looking dangerous at all. They didn't make movements when they had to, and that allowed the referee. It kind of made the referees only give passive play when they did. And then Jurknor slipping. He took 3 steps, I think. I don't think you can count a slip where your other foot also falls as you're slipping as a step. Maybe you can. And then he did put the ball down on the ground, that's a double dribble. Because he bounced it, fell, and the ball hit the floor. That's a double dribble. I think if you're going to call anything, that's the decision that you call, because it's right there. Everything's kind of static in that moment. That it's the right, you can call that. And Iceland 100% would have got the ball and scored. Like, I don't doubt it that Iceland would have gone up the other side and made it 25-25. But Jurkner was able to throw the ball out to Julian Kuster, who he took 4 steps. He took 4 steps, a bounce, and 3 steps. But in that moment, that second moment is so dynamic. There's so much going on. There's so many bodies flying everywhere, and the steps are happening at such a fast pace that, it's there's many steps in handball. The GOG 5-step.
It's one of those things when you're being tackled like that. He had contact on him that you could just kind of take as many steps as you want, and it kind of felt like that. There was arms and hands on him, so he's just going for a hike,
trying to get through, right?
Yeah.
And then he does come through, puts it away, 26-24. Germany sigh with relief. What was Brian, any general impressions from the German team or the fans, or what was the feeling?
Picture this, right? You start to get started the game, right? Everyone's getting hyped up. They're like, everyone welcome out, Team Germany. And this place starts going, do you know the German with their clappers?
You love a clapper, Brian.
I love a clapper. But they start playing Metallica Enter Sandman, right? And then I see Johannes Golla comes out and I go, okay, fair enough, Metallica. He's kind of rock and roll of himself. I don't mind that. And then you see Justus Fischer walk out and it's heavy metal. How does that make you feel?
Bored?
Doesn't really match up. Then Timo Kastening walks out and you're like, God, this is, I don't know. And then Custer walks out and you're like, Jesus Christ, this doesn't match up at all. These lads aren't metal. I was just like, I got really bad vibes off the whole thing. And then you talk about the German team being quite boring. I think also the fans are really boring as well. I'm sorry, but come up with a chant. Just come up with one chant. Have a few songs. Have a bit of a sing along. They're just obsessed with clapping, and it's the same every game. And I can't imagine playing Bundesliga handball for a club and you have the same atmosphere in every game and almost everywhere you go, bar going to Fuchs Berlin or whatever. But every international game is the same game atmosphere over and over again. And I know I'm being a bit harsh here.
I love
Christ on a bike. It's the biggest Euro ever, and all you're coming up with is clapping. Give me a break. Yeah.
Hey, but they got the win.
And it's good for the tournament, isn't it? It's good for the tournament. Germany's still in the tournament. Still in with the chance.
No, look, it is. No, it is. I'm jesting, but like it is overall. I think
you're not jesting anything, Kappa.
Well, I am and I haven't. But like, just in case any Germans are listening, but no, it is good for the tournament because I think you want them to be thereabouts before the semi-final, just to keep that tension. Will they make it to the semi-final? I'm not so convinced. I feel like they have kind of got out a jail card.
Who's going to stop them between Austria, Hungary, and Croatia? Really, at this stage?
Yeah, they're lucky to getting Croatia last, aren't they? As well. So Croatia are going to be done and dusted by them, probably. Yeah, it's looking good, isn't it, actually? Fuck.
So I'll give a quick point on Croatia. We won't go into it, but I think they, as always, there's a game in every tournament where the Croatian fans go really nuts at the referee, and it was the game against France. 34-32 to France, and I think they have some claims. That decision of giving Nacinovic a 2 minutes after he got fouled by Dikamem, who also got a 2 minutes for like the 2 minutes for Nacinovic was for flopping, but the player who tackled him was a 2 minutes, got a 2 minutes, and it was a penalty. So that was, and that really, Croatia were right in the game then, and it kind of it let France get away. So I think they'll feel pretty hard done by Croatia, but still in it.
And in the hall as well, there were some hardcore people behind the bench who threw some something at the bench anyway, and they ended up getting ejected. Four skinhead lads were swiftly booted out afterwards.
Yeah, and there was also, I think, some racist chants also from those Croatian fans. So that's definitely, you don't want to see that at all in the game. So rightly kicked out.
By the way, I'm jumping around here a bit now, but did you hear that they played the Icelandic national anthem on double speed before the Germany game?
I read something about it. I wasn't quite sure what that was about.
It was like
double speed.
It was like Benny Hill or something, and they were just like, "What the fuck?" And I thought then, I was like, "Oh, they're gonna fucking really come out." I mean, I think that they played all right, but they weren't. I thought they were gonna actually smash it. But if you want to get some Icelanders up for a game, it'll be that. But the DJ, and then the DJ, next thing he did was play some song on absolute full volume, and everyone thought they were about to go deaf in the arena. Surrounded by absolute laughter, and then people were like, "What the fuck is this? This guy won't be working the next day anyway."
Hey.
Who's your semi-final teams now as we stand at the moment?
We only briefly mentioned Austria, but
Are they your semi-final team?
I just, we've talked about teams who just can't hack it in the last couple of minutes in this tournament. Serbia being one, Iceland and Norway have shown their gaps there, and Austria are just mental monsters.
Mentality monsters.
Nikola Bilic.
Mental monsters.
They're mentality monsters. So mentality monsters, Austria, and Nikola Bilic, who is just in the form of his life. And you said it at the start, Brian, but I'd love to see them knock out Germany. Just knock them down to third place.
That would be so tasty.
If Austria beat Germany, they'll have a 3-point lead over them, and then there's a real chance of them going through. Who are my semi-finalists? It's going to be France versus Sweden. No, France versus Portugal.
Oh,
and Denmark versus Hungary.
Oh, it's dirty now. Oh, it's dirty. Oh my god! Should we call it, lads?
I'm throwing it out there.
Oh my god!
I think we can. I think we all agree on France, Denmark topping the groups, right? Again, I'm still not impressed by France. I don't think they're that good, but they'll
be there.
Do have really good players, and they'll be there. And Nikola Karabatic can't keep bailing them out. This is ridiculous. He had a fantastic game against Croatia when Prandi really had a terrible one. But there's going to be a game where Prandi and Karabatic are not going to have a good game, and France are going to really struggle.
How about...
But they're still going to top
How
the group.
about in the final game against Hungary, when Hungary booked their spot at the semi-finals? So who's the other two teams then, Alex?
I think I think Sweden will make it now. As much as I want Portugal to make it, I want Portugal. But I think Sweden will make it, and I'll stick my neck out for Austria. Just going to do it. I'm on the Nikola Bilic hype train.
Oh, here we go.
Even though I think it's probably going to be Germany.
All right.
But
Campo.
France, top group 1. And I live in Austria. Like, what the fuck would I be doing if I didn't pick Austria? Like, you know, I have to be on the hype train, and I want to be on the hype train. They're a bunch of, like, before the Hungary game backstage, those lads were having a laugh, jumping up each other's backs, slapping each other. And then I saw them going, I was like, these lads aren't taking this seriously at all. And then the Hungarians came along, all fucking serious. And then we saw what happened. So I'm going to go Austria. They're living the dream, and fuck it, why not? Like, you know, Denmark then, and yeah, I think probably Sweden. I think the Sweden-Portugal game is going to be... Yeah. There would be no more than 2 goals. I'm not buying any beers for anyone this time, though.
I think there's going to be another kind of little surprise as well somewhere. It's not going to be all straightforward for those teams. It's going to come down to the end. When is the Portugal-Sweden game?
In 2 days' time. Tomorrow, podcast time.
Okay, so we do have Germany, Austria, and Sweden, Portugal as the next games coming up. So I think we'll know a lot better after those.
And it's after those games that we'll record again and reevaluate these wild predictions.
Make sure you pack your clappers, because the Austrians are coming. We'll see you next time.